So, as of today, U.S. oil production has reached a new all-time record. It's broken through the 10 million barrel per day ceiling, and as of the release of the EIA's weekly petroleum status report, was at a level of 10.25 million barrels per day. A production level never seen before for the U.S., even higher than its first production peak back in the 70s. Now, the majority of this new production has been coming from the Permian shale down in Texas, because the Permian shale formation is extremely prolific, whereas the others, Eagle Ford, Bakken, they were all just a single shale level. Permian is multiple shale formations, shale levels stacked on top of each other at different depths. And that's part of the reason why it didn't come online as soon as the others did, because of how complex, the actual formation, all the different levels are. It took a few more years to actually set everything up initially. But now over the last 2 years, the oil industry has been cranking up Permian wells left and right, and because of the constantly increasing operations in the Permian field, U.S. oil production has been, on average, climbing about 20 to 40,000 barrels per day per week. However, between last Wednesday and this Wednesday, our production level surged from 9.92 million up to 10.25 million. Now, that in particular is because more than just several dozen new Permian field wells were brought online this week. Several, 3 I believe, large fields out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico were finally brought online. 2 of which I did see the numbers for. One is coming on with a production level of 100,000 barrels a day, and another is coming on with a production level of 80,000 barrels per day. Now, the particular reason that these large offshore fields give such a bigger jump than a bunch of new shale wells coming online is because out in the Permian, or really any other shale formation, you have a whole bunch of wells constantly being drilled. So you'll randomly each week have some given number of wells actually be finished drilling and be brought into production, counterbalancing, of course, with the declining rates from older wells. However, out in these subsea fields, the way they typically work those is they'll drill wells one after another, but plug them afterwards. So they'll drill a dozen, maybe 16, maybe up to 2 dozen over a field and connect them all with subsea piping to a central station. And once everything has been set up, then they basically turn on the master spigot, and all the wells they've set up over the field start flowing at once. Now, because of this, when we get the numbers in next week, they're likely going to, our numbers are likely only going to either remain right at this level or increase a little bit more at the normal rate they were going up with. Because now that those fields out in the Gulf of Mexico have been brought online, there's no other source of a giant single-week surge that's going to be coming. We're just going to be going back to the original increasing rate that we were going with as new Permian fields are being brought online. Now, regarding U.S. oil production overall, for the immediate future, the next year or 2, maybe 3, it is likely going to keep rising. However, obviously, that's not going to last forever. The Permian formation in particular has recently passed the 3 million barrel per day mark itself. It's likely capable of getting up to just below 6 million barrels a day. Now, obviously, 3 million to 6 million, that's another 3, European 3, by the way. And obviously, basic math, 10 plus 3 is 13. So just adding the Permian's expected remaining future production climb onto our current number, you would get, an expected U.S. second and potentially final peak of 13 million barrels per day. However, that's not taking into account the decline rates in other formations and other conventional fields out there and everything. Now, obviously, being outside the industry, I don't have access to all of the data, unfortunately. I'd love to. But with all the charts and graphs and information that we are allowed access to, it's looking to me like it's more going to be a second and final peak of around 11.5, maybe up towards 12. But That's the future, so we'll just have to see when the time comes. If you have any, let me know your own opinions and thoughts in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch everybody around next time.